All right, y'all, it is about that time. Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. It's digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. As I say every day, wherever you're watching Before the Four this fine Wednesday afternoon, a quite hot Wednesday afternoon, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your afternoon here with me. Now, let's begin with a look at the weather as a 48 first alert weather day has been declared for tomorrow due to heavy rain and gusty winds moving into the valley. We have Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis. He has everything you can expect. Brad?
Afternoon, everyone. First alert weather day tomorrow. Nothing really out there right now. There's no real significant rain out there, but we are looking at perhaps a longer chance for showers and storms as we go through the day tomorrow. And we're getting a delay in the rain Friday. It may not be until Friday night, and that moves the rain chances into Saturday morning. Overall, though, the weekend still looks pretty good, especially after we get past the lunch hour on your Saturday. Here's that timeline, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Areas out west, Rogersville, Florence, down to Russellville and Haleyville, including Waterloo and Red Bay. Middle part of North Alabama up to Middle Tennessee. There in Fayetteville, Hazel Green, Huntsville, Harvest, Monrovia, Madison, Lacey's Spring, Coleman, Decatur, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. and then 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. in far eastern Alabama. I don't anticipate as much instability the farther east this goes, but nonetheless, we still have some stronger storms just about area-wide. Notice how things get going between 1 and 2 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to see some hail, initially probably small hail, maybe dime-size to nickel-size, and a few of the storms could be capable of quarter-size hail, and that would be severe hail, and that's where you start to get some damage. Very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, not a lot of talk about tornadoes with this. We haven't really been seeing that threat all week. We'll keep an eye on it, but the way it looks now, there's not a lot of wind shear for that. There's a lot of energy out there and instability. 4 o'clock will pretty much be the peak of all of this activity across the metro area, and notice it continues to push to the east. Also, isolated damaging winds around 50 miles per hour will be possible as well. And notice the trees are pretty much fully leafed out, so they're more vulnerable, especially after the heavy rainfall we had last week. Notice things kind of stall out a little bit as we go into the evening hours over the northeast corner of the state, but doubtful that will be severe because the temperatures will pretty much be in the 60s and rain cooled. Here's your 3-day forecast. Again, some changes as we go into the weekend. Friday, the rain will be late, probably after 9 o'clock at night or even later. And that means the front's coming in later as well. So we're talking about Saturday morning through about 10, 11 in the morning, a few showers and clouds. And then we really cool down, a high of 70 Saturday and some upper 60s possible for Sunday. We'll talk more about that at 4, 5, 6, and 10.
Well, thank you, Brad. And always make sure to tune in to Weather Extra tonight at 9:30. 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis will be back here in the CTV Center giving you the latest he's seeing Thursday afternoon. And I see we have a comment on Facebook from Nanny. She says, thank you, Hazel Green here. Hazel Green is a great place, Nanny. I've been up there a few times and it is a very pretty area. So Nanny, make sure you stay tuned and everyone watching at home to Weather Extra. Again, that is tonight at 9:30 for the latest Brad seeing on the radar. But now moving on to Fort Payne, where a woman made a shocking discovery in her own home. A man underneath her house spying on her. Now, the woman was in the bathroom in her home, but somehow she spotted a man watching her through a hole in the floor. The man had entered the crawl space of the victim's home and was spying on her. When she saw what was happening, that man tried to run off. Police were called and officers found the man at his car. Now, court records show his pants were still undone and falling off. Police arrested Annibal Diaz-Domingo, that's who you see on screen. The 40-year-old man is charged with aggravated surveillance as well as burglary. Now, jail records show he's from Fort Deposit. He remains in the DeKalb County Jail with a hold for another agency. Court records don't yet show a date for him to appear in court, but we'll continue to keep you updated as soon as we learn more. But now turning over to a story in case you missed it. In a rare ruling, the murder case against a 22-year-old Huntsville man was recently dismissed. But it might not be the end of his legal fight. 48's Nick Ballinger has the story.
22-year-old Byron Peterson is walking free after a Madison County District Judge ruled there wasn't enough probable cause to indict him for the murder of 53-year-old Demetrius Jones in March. Tim Douthit with the Madison County DA's office says a ruling like this is rare.
Normally, 99 out of 100 cases, you go in front of a judge, the police officer will say, this is our probable cause. District court will say, great, send it to the grand jury.
Peterson's attorney, Chad Morgan, says the judge believed his client's self-defense claim.
100%. This is probably one of the best self-defense cases I've had in years.
Morgan says Jones's killing on March 3rd started when Peterson went to confront him at his front door.
There was allegations that he had made some type of sexual remarks to my client's 14-year-old sister at the time.
When Peterson's sister identified Jones as the man who was allegedly making sexual advances at her, he and 3 others confronted him, and he says Jones came out with a gun.
Well, the guy was waving it in front of everybody in a threatening manner with his finger on the trigger. So my client moved to the right to get away from the weapon and pulled his own weapon and shot.
Morgan says his client not only had a self-defense claim for himself, but he was defending his sister as well.
Anybody comes to talk to your little sister when they're 14 about sexual advances, and it's your responsibility at that point because your parents are deceased. So, I mean, it's time to go take care of business.
Morgan believes prosecutors will present this case to a grand jury and once again pursue a murder charge, something Douthit says they can and more than likely will do.
There's no real question that the guy did it. The question is self-defense. He's saying he should have been allowed to do it. And that is a defense in Alabama, and you can claim self-defense if you want. But in our view, the appropriate place for that decision to be made is not in front of a judge, but in front of a jury.
Well, now moving on to Decatur, a fiery city council work session took place Monday night between local advocacy groups standing in power and city leaders. The meeting ultimately led to a person's arrest. 48's Callie Neese with the details of that fiery meeting.
I spoke with the woman whose fiery message led to the abrupt ending of last night's city council work session. Sharonda Ackland told me she wants to see more accountability. Ackland is a member of Standing in Power, a local advocacy group which was formed after the police shooting death of Steve Perkins. At the end of Ackland's remarks, she cursed and the meeting was abruptly adjourned.
And that's exactly what we're gonna do.
That's when chaos began to break out, including Councilman Billy Jackson leaving his seat to go down into the gallery. Ackland told me that's when the man got arrested, but I am still waiting for Decatur police officials to confirm that. Reducing things like this in the future is one of the goals of Decatur's newly hired communications manager. Samantha Magnuson told me that she believes improving communication between the city and community may help.
Building that bridge between residents and their municipality is important, and so we've already discussed ways that we can improve communications from our residents to our city. We want to make sure that they are heard and that we can provide clarity of any situation that's happening.
I reached out to all 3 city councilmen who were in attendance at last night's work session multiple times today, and I am still waiting to hear back. Reporting in Decatur, Callie Neese, 48 News, on your side.
And staying in Decatur, Church Street Northeast is set to go through some major updates and road work. City council members recently hired an engineer for that project. That portion of Church Street is a mile-long stretch that sees a lot of 18-wheelers drive over it every day. The heavy truckloads have caused the road to crack and crumble over the years. Now, eventually, crews will dig out the existing road and rebuild it so it can better deal with that heavy load of traffic. 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy spoke with Decatur City engineer Carl Pruitt, who says they plan to use more basic material like asphalt instead of just dirt to rebuild the road. Pruitt adds that they don't plan to make any roads wider, they are just simply reconstructing the one they have. Although officials will be closing some lanes to give crews space to work, Pruitt says the end project will be worth the temporary traffic headaches. Take a listen.
Right now, we try to repair the potholes that come and go, but with the traffic, they keep coming back, so this will be something that should last a long time.
And speaking of construction, now in Rainsville, where a proposed project is in the works to widen Highway 75. The project could help alleviate traffic jams and congestion in the area. 48 Savannah Sapp recently spoke with both residents and city leaders who say this is a much needed change. Take a listen.
Seth Burkett with AlDOT says the plan right now is to expand Highway 75 in Rainsville to be 5 lanes from Grimes Street to Marshall Road, with additional medians and turning lanes to help access nearby businesses. He tells me the purpose of this project would be to help alleviate traffic congestion and to provide better access to businesses on and off Highway 75. Police Chief Michael Edmondson says this could help relieve major traffic jams in the area near schools and other businesses. He says right now the intersection of Highway 35 and 75 as it is can be difficult to navigate as they respond to calls.
It's very hard. It's dangerous. Like I said, this crossing is one of the busiest in northeast Alabama. It makes it very difficult for us, especially when it's north of the crossing.
Well, after tonight's meeting, AlDOT will continue to accept community input through their website so that everyone's voices can be heard before this project becomes a reality. Reporting in Rainsville, I'm Savannah Sapp, 48 News on your side.
All right, and now before we go to break, which is coming up, I got to shout out some more comments I'm seeing on Facebook. Roberta Smart, good evening, and Nanny just responded to Roberta. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for watching Before the Four. And I saw another comment, Nora, out watching from Valley Head. Now, Valley Head is an area I go to quite often. I'm excited for the Mayberry Days Festival going on out there. I am originally from Georgia, so that is a little bit closer to my neck of the woods. But yes, thank you all for watching. But now coming up after the break, we'll go through an effort to bring more blue-collared workers to one Tennessee Valley community. The Ukulele Fest happening at Lake Gunnersville this weekend. We'll talk about that. President Trump coming to the Yellowhammer State. And as always, ending it with a sweet story you're just not going to want to miss. It's all ahead. I'll be right back in 1 minute. All right, the time is up. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. Now moving out to Russellville, an over $6 million project is almost complete at Russellville City Schools, which will house the welding program to help bring new skilled additions to the workforce. The goal of the program is to shift more focus to blue-collared industries such as welders and carpenters. 48's Aria Pons reports.
This building here behind me, once finished, will house all of Russellville's 14 career technical courses. School leaders say they hear the community's needs for more ready-to-go employees in the workforce.
We're in short demand for welders, and we really need to shift focus more into blue-collar industries like welders and carpenters.
Welding instructor Aaron Payden has been welding since he was about 12 years old. He's been a college instructor and now works at Russellville High School. Payden says he sees the need for employees adding that career technical courses not only help the workforce, they help the students too.
Well, these kids, they're in a condition where they can't afford to go to college or they can't make it through college, and they give them the option for a better living.
A lot of people think that you have to go to college, and I'm here to tell you that you can go to college, there's nothing wrong with that, but you don't have to go to college. There's other options out there for you.
Coben James is a junior at Russellville who is currently in a handful of courses here and has learned different avenues for the future.
For me, I was always told growing up that I wouldn't amount to nothing if I didn't go to college by just people around me. Not my parents, but kids around me and stuff. they're like, well, you have to go to college. There's no other option. I was like, there is another option. I've seen other people do stuff.
James says they get hands-on experiences to help them learn and can even add dual enrollment courses through Career Tech without having the student debt.
I have a couple different options lined up just in case, but I could definitely see a future in welding.
I'm told they do plan on adding a variety of different courses in the future since they'll have the space, but as for now, they're just adding more sections to the already existing classes to accommodate more students. The building here should be finished in the next few months. Reporting in Russellville, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
And now in a bit of state news, President Trump is heading to Tuscaloosa to speak at a special event ahead of the University of Alabama commencement this weekend. His trip comes as the Trump administration ramps up attacks on higher education, including lawsuits with several institutions that the administration is threatening to pull funding from. WAFF correspondent Ashanti Ford joins us from the White House with details on his trip to Alabama and more on how the nation is responding.
The University of Alabama is welcoming President Trump onto their campus to speak at spring graduations. And while the university's president, Stuart Bell, and former legendary Crimson Tide head football coach Nick Saban also welcoming President Trump into their state, there's a petition out right now with 25,000 plus signatures that says they don't want President Trump to visit.
I would like to see them stop trying to destroy institutions.
Political analyst Roland Martin is talking about the Trump administration's threat to pull funding from colleges and universities and the dozens of executive orders impacting after-school programs, K-12 education, sports, and the Department of Education's role in higher learning, which is in part why 25,000 plus people signed a petition saying they do not want President Trump to speak at the University of Alabama's graduation ceremony. The changes the administration is calling for include wanting to strengthen education for the future of our economy, adding that 70% of 8th graders are not proficient in reading or math.
That's a clear indicator that we are not doing the best thing we can do for our students. We cannot be last in the world in education because we are impacting our national security. We are impacting those next second and third generations that are coming along. It is up to us and our responsibility to make sure we are giving them the best access to education.
President Trump is also set to speak at West Point Military Academy later this month. Reporting from the White House, I'm Ashanti Ford.
Now let's talk about another thing you can do this weekend here in North Alabama. Yesterday we talked about the Spring Carnival in Muscle Shoals, which officially begins tonight. But this Friday and Saturday, another thing you can do is go on down to Lake Gunnersville and Riverview Campground and check out the awesome annual Ukulele Fest going on down there. A whole ukulele band came into the station today to perform. Take a listen.
1, 2, 3, 4. Everything ends. I can't begin to know it. Then I know it's going strong. Wasn't the spring, spring became the summer. Will be come along. Touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, dum dum dum, the times never seem so good, so good, so good, so good. I've been inclined, dum dum dum, to believe they never would, but now I.
Yeah, that performance was so good. That was an awesome performance there, and that full 48 Now interview and performance with more details on this weekend's Uke Fest will be published on our website later today, so keep an eye out for that. I had such a great time speaking with them today, but now we got to move on. Regular exercise can help keep your body feeling young. The CDC says it can also help you live longer. A gym instructor in Virginia is making a huge impact with a low-impact workout and her longevity. Today on The Good Side, Deborah Alfarone introduces us to a woman who says age is just a number.
Up, out, in, crossover.
Ekris Williams is what you would call a tough cookie.
Come on higher, let me see your kneecaps, please.
The 86-year-old teaches water aerobics every Tuesday and Thursday.
Kick, kick, kick.
No matter what.
Push it away, push it away, push it away.
But it's not all she does.
Bring it up and push. Sundays I take a longer run now, maybe 5 or 6 miles. Mondays I go run in the pool. Tuesdays 4 workouts. Then I come and lift weights. And then on Wednesdays I go running. On Thursdays is a repeat of Tuesday.
Not every 86-year-old has that workout schedule.
That's their problem. And flip!
But her fitness journey started with running. Ekris survived World War II. Her parents didn't. A former German Olympian inspired her to put one foot in front of the other. She's been doing it ever since. She did stop long enough to meet her husband, move to the U.S., and raise her children. You may think her good health is just luck.
What is it that keeps you going?
Well, I have to exercise. I have to keep the cardio up. I have a congenital heart defect. I was a preemie. My mother kicked me out and never finished me. The doctors always said, keep going. So I said, okay.
The CDC says working out after age 65 can reduce the risk of developing dementia, heart disease, certain types of cancers, and stroke. It's what brings Ekris' students to her class at World Gate Athletic Club.
Good core work. Helps my knees.
What's your advice to people who say, well, I don't know, my arm hurts, or I don't know, my knee hurts?
Mind over matter, it could be worse. I have seen too much destruction. I have seen too much misery. Don't lie down and say, oh, what's going to happen? Get up and say, thank you, dear God. Every day, thank God for the day.
Lots of studies say exercise keeps your mind sharp. For Ekris, it might help keep her wit sharp, too.
What do you think keeps you young?
I'm not young. I look like a prune. I ran past the window at the Giant and I looked. I thought there was somebody behind me. It was my skin flopping.
You've got guns. I mean, your guns are way better than mine.
Well, do something about it.
She admits she's tough, but her students like it.
And lunge it.
In Herndon, Virginia, for The Good Side, I'm Deborah Alfarone.
And one more time, run.
I love it. So awesome. And now let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. More details regarding a shooting at a homeless camp here in Huntsville. 48's Faith Delp will have that coming up. A local TikTok influencer accused of scamming people out of $1 million making a court appearance. And finally, an update to that kangaroo on the run here in Alabama. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And I think we all know what time it is now. Of course, it is time for Facebook fun. That is right. Our 48 Facebook question of the day: what is the luckiest thing that's ever happened to you? And you all watching right now on Before the Four, feel free to leave a comment. What is the luckiest thing that's ever happened to you? For me, I would say I have lived a very fortunate life. I mean, it always comes with some hardships, but I have lived a very lucky and blessed life. So it is very hard for me to choose one thing as being the luckiest thing that's ever happened. But let's see what you all at home had to say. All right. Bonita, she gave birth to 3 healthy children. That is so awesome, Bonita. D. West, I bought a house. That is actually very lucky. especially if you bought it earlier rather than as of recent. Margaret, I got to retire. Margaret and Bruce Walker, I hope you all are enjoying your retirement. That is so awesome. Steve said, not being barefoot when I stepped in dog poop. That sounds like an unfortunate situation, but it always could have been worse. You got lucky there. And then Tommy said, it happened today, just got back together with my ex-fiance, whom I love very much. Oh, that is so sweet, Tommy. Yes, congratulations. And I'm not seeing any comments on Facebook. I saw Nanny also commented, awesome story. Yes, I'm blessed with 14 grandkids from Nanny. Nanny, that is so awesome. Enjoy it. Cherish that. That is so great. And let's see, we just have one comment on YouTube, just a hi from, I am not sure exactly, kid eat the big bag. What? All right, so we have a comment on YouTube, but y'all, that is about all the time I have for today's Before the 4th. Thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Wednesday afternoon here. I hope you all have a great evening. Enjoy tonight's evening newscast. No matter what you do tonight, have a great time doing it. With that said, I'm out, but you all, thank you so much for watching.